Hello guys, can you hear me? So we'll begin now. Yes, someone commented that it seems like we're busy coding. We're actually busy coding. Okay, so we'll begin now. Hmm. So we are the programming club of IIT Kanpur. First, I'll tell you what we do. So we basically do programming. It includes a lot of fields like competitive programming, machine learning, web development, software development, cyber security. We do a lot of stuff that is considered cool. But before I tell you more about this, I'll first introduce myself. I am one of the coordinators of the programming club, and there are four coordinators of the programming club. My name is Priyadarshi Singh. We have Dipankur Kansal, Nela Majorwal, and Nirmal Suthar. And we have around 21 secretaries who are in their second year right now. You can contact us anytime if you need help in anything. Now, moving on, what is programming? So, we know that programming is something related to computers, but computers are basically just circuits and they do nothing. They're actually very dumb. We need to tell them what to do, and this act of telling them what to do is called programming. So you may think that you're not a computer science student or you're not interested in computer science, so why should you be interested in programming? So first we'll tell you some differences between computer science and programming. So computer science is basically the study of all things related to computers like programming methodologies, technologies, and it involves the study of building systems. Whereas programming is where you actually build systems. It is about automating tasks that require manual labor. It is about doing things your own way. It is about really building stuff that is useful. So, what should now you do to get started? First of all, you should try to keep yourself updated about what is going on in the tech world. You need to have groups of friends where you can talk to about all these developments in all these fields. You know, there are many cool things happening in the world like virtualization, cloud computing, security, machine learning, artificial intelligence. Just keep yourself updated about all these things. You can use various sources like blogs on Medium or newspapers or anything. Just keep yourself updated. Then you should try to explore. So what I mean by exploring is that first of all you should learn how to program. You can do it in any language. Be taught ESC, you'll be taught C in ESC 101, but you should try to learn any language apart from that on your own. Like, just try to pick up any language like Python or JavaScript, and you'll see that the concepts are very similar to what is being taught to you in C. And if you try to learn a language on your own, you will realize that it is actually very easy. Then once you know a simple language, you can try building things with them. You can try building your own web page. You can try building a very simple game, even like a text based game. You can try to learn more about what open source coding is. And finally, you may try to install Linux. This is what we used to tell people in the previous years, and I'm also telling you, but just be warned that this is very risky. You may lose your Windows operating system if you try it on your own. So do it only if you are very confident. But basically, all you need to do is just learn about different fields of programming. So now, whenever a programmer starts, there are three phases in the journey of a successful programmer. First is a hacker, second, he becomes a developer, and third, he becomes an engineer. So, a hacker is not what you may think a hacker is. A hacker is basically someone who does things his own way. So, like, if you ever felt that you have a lot of files in your computer, let's say, and you need to rename them in a systematic way. Like, suppose you need to convert .mp3 to .txt, something like that, and there are 100 files. Now you could do that in around 10 minutes if you try to do all of that manually, or you could write a simple program and run that, and that would automatically rename all the files for you. That is how a hacker thinks. This is about like automating something that is boring, but you converted that boring task into something which is interesting. Writing code is interesting. So you basically just converted that boring task to something interesting, although that may take you more than 10 minutes. But eventually, that task is interesting. That is what a hacker does. Then, once you are good with that, you become a developer. What that means is that you know what are the best practices in the industry, what is considered socially acceptable code. So if you're writing a code for your own self, you may write absolutely anything. You can write all your code on a single line, but then of course that is not the way it is considered to be readable. Your code should be good, clean, and that is when you start thinking about these things, you become a good developer. So basically, this stage involves you learning about all the best practices and using them in your own code. And then finally, you become an engineer when you actually start to question how things work on the inside. What happens when you Google something? Like your you type something in your browser that goes through your LAN wire or something like that. It goes over the mobile phone towers and how stuff works. What is encryption? What is a signature? What is a bootloader? Like, when you start to question these things, when you start to try to find out how these things work, then you become an engineer. So, in this journey of you becoming a successful programmer, where do we come in? I mean, the programming club. So, we actually help people get started with all these things. And people come to us with a lot of questions. Some common problems that people come to us with are like, you don't know where to start. So, we'll tell you how to start. So, as I told before already, programming is actually very simple. You just need to write code, and code is logical. Okay, You can start by writing code of your SC101 assignments, or you could start solving problems on CodeChef. CodeChef is a website where it gives you programming problems and you need to write code to solve those problems. Or you could follow a book to learn programming and you could solve things in that book. That would also be writing code. So, what we recommend is that you first learn a good language. You know, uh, by learning, I do not mean that you just try to master that language, because that is practically impossible. You cannot just learn a language completely. All you need to do is learn it good enough so that you can perform basic tasks in it. And by basic, I mean just string or file handling is good enough. Then you need to learn some basic algorithms, like sorting algorithms, and at least just how know how things work, how to make things work. Once you can write these basic stuff in any language, then your task is done, like you have begun programming. The third step is to use Linux. Then again, I'll come to it later, uh, sometime later in this presentation. Now, the second problem that people come to us with is that once you start programming, you will have thousands of fields of programming, like software development, web development, machine learning, competitive programming, all that. And people are confused about which one to choose. So, what we recommend is that you should try to explore everything. It's not like we should just ignore one particular field and just stick to something in order to master that. That will come later in your life. But as you are in your first year, you should just try to explore everything. Try to solve problems on code forces, try web development, make your own website, try system administration, make your own, backend systems like that. We'll tell you how to do that. We'll come to that later. But what I want to point out here is that you should try to explore everything. Do not stick to something. If a person says that a machine learning is the best thing in the world because everything in the future will be artificial intelligence, that does not mean that you ignore all the other fields. You should try to explore everything, and we'll help you explore everything. Then people come to us with the problem that they are trying to learn programming, but they're unable to do that, which is okay, because a lot of people are not able to get started with it right away. And in these cases, you should try to get help. So if you're stuck anywhere, you can just Google it, like how to do this, how to do that. And Googling is a very, very, very important skill. Like, you may have been using Google for, I don't know, 5 6 years, but I'll tell you something. You do not know how to Google. I'm not asking you whether or not you know how to Google. I'm telling you, you do not know how to Google. You learn it by trying to find solutions to problems that you're stuck at. And this, as you progress, it will become a very important skill. Even the best programmers in the world do not know some basic stuff, and they have to Google it every time they have to write code. Then if you're stuck, you can reach out to your friends, so you can reach out to us, our secretaries and myself. But basically, you just don't give up. Okay, just keep trying. It may seem tough, but it's actually easy. Now, sometimes you may think that everyone around you is more intelligent than you are. And, like, there are some people among you who may have done programming in school, who may be very good at it. So when you look at those people, you will see that these people are very good and you are nowhere in front of them. But then that is something called the imposter syndrome, where you think that you know much less than what they know. But the reality is that you know something, and they know something, and the intersection of that is some small part, but it's not that what your knowledge is a complete subset of their knowledge. You know a lot of things that they do not know. You are good at a lot of things that they are not good at. And you should just try to explore what you are good at and excel in that. So now you are at an IIT, and everyone here is a topper, okay? So it's not going to be very easy just going on defeating everyone like you used to do it in school. And you'll find many people in this college that are amazing, okay? So when I was in my first year, a senior told me that you may think you are very good at this particular thing that nobody in the world can defeat you in, but I'll tell you, among these around 8,000 people in our campus, there'll be many people better than you in that exact field that you think you are the best at. So do not have this feeling that you are the best at it. And again, do not have this feeling that you are not good enough for anything. So, what people typically do in a normal semester is that they give up trying. They think कि कुछ तो हो ही जाएगा. So, just stop trying. And you know, if you check out our Facebook group, uh, on on Facebook, the programming club group, you'll see that there are posts of winners of these contests, sport programmer contest, and in the comment section you'll find lots of comments of people telling their friends that they are very chapu. Just go and find them. You'll find hundreds of comments like this. And again, this is a good thing, but some people mean it in a sarcastic way, which is not something we recommend. So now I'll tell you something about our previous projects, some of the cool stuff that we have done to inspire you to choose this field of programming. First of all, we built something called the student search. I'm pretty sure you have heard of this. And it currently does not have your data of Y20. See, basically, what happens is that we do not generate the data in student search. We just steal it from somewhere else. Okay. And the place where we steal it from does not have this data yet. So we cannot steal from there. So if we cannot steal from there, we cannot give it to you. So you'll have to wait for us to steal data from there. Okay, this will happen in a week or two. And then you'll find out that student search is actually very useful. A lot of people open student search every single day. Like, you may, right now you may think that this is a stupid thing, like what will you do with the data of all the students in the campus, but once you start using it, you'll realize that it is actually very useful. Then there is something called Puppy Love, which is an anonymous couple matching platform. So what happens is, like, you must have heard of Tinder. You just like people, they like you back, and then there is a match. It's the same thing, but slightly different, and it is for IITK students exclusively. We'll tell you more about this in February. Like, just wait for it. Then in this summers, we built something called Campus Discuss, which was supposed to be an app for students to discuss about a lot of things that are going on in the world and in the campus. So it's that we built this entire thing. It's supposed to be a website. It is supposed to be a functional website. You can post comments, you can make posts, things like that. We wrote code for that. And once you write code for something that is being used in the campus, you'll realize that It's a very great feeling. Then there was something called Model Zoo. You would not be, mm, you would not have enough prerequisite knowledge to understand exactly what it means. Even I don't have enough knowledge to understand what it means because I was not involved in this project. But these people did some really cool stuff. They built something called deep learning models, which we'll tell you more about later. And using these models, you can classify images and do auto completion of sentences. Like you must have seen whenever you type words on your keyboard, it suggests the next word automatically. So that is an application of these deep learning models, and we'll have projects for you to learn this too. Now, what we will do for you, we have some upcoming events for you, like an introductory workshop. We have a freshers programming contest where we'll give you some problems. You'll have to solve them in a limited time, and if you win, you'll get prizes for that. Then there is something called a black box, which uses isolangs. And isolang is a language that is not like any normal programming language. So basically, it's like it has a very weird syntax, and you'll have to solve problems using that weird syntax. So this basically helps you get an idea of what programming is without understanding the need of that specific language. Then we have multiple blogs in store for you. We'll have many guides with like step to step explanations of how to get started with things and how to explore things, how to set up your IDE, how to solve problems, things like that. We'll have lots of blogs coming up in the next week, and these blogs have been written specifically for you by our sekis. And if you need any help with any of these blogs, you can contact these sekis. Then we'll also have some cool projects that you can work on. Like we'll have some way of recruiting you, and we'll select a few people to work on these projects. That will help you improve your skills. And then for people who are still beginners, we have a lots of lectures planned on topics like machine learning, cybersecurity, web development, software development, etc. Attending those lectures will be useful. Now, for people who already may have some programming experience, we have some challenges for you. These do not specifically require prior programming experience, but it it may be such that people who already know programming may have an edge over people who do not know. But anyway, first challenge is that you have to build your own web page on ITK's home server. So what we have is that there is this URL home.itk.ac.in, and every student of IIT Kanpur is allowed to have a web page on this server. So we'll not tell you how to do this. Okay, you need to Google, and you need to Google how to do this. You need to find out how to set up this server. You need to find out how to write that web page. This challenge will basically help you improve your Googling skills. Okay, you might find out this information from seniors, but I do not recommend that. I recommend that you try to find out on your own how to do this. Then, Student Search does not yet have your data, but it will have your data in a week or two. And then it will not have your profile picture. So what basically happens is that Student Search used to have the profile pictures of students from their ID cards, but you do not have your ID card yet. So that will display just a dummy picture as of now. And a dummy picture is actually no good because people will search for you and they cannot see how you look like. So we challenge you to change your profile picture on student search. And the hint is that all the information that you need to do this is available on the URL itself. Like just open up that URL and try to find out how to do stuff. And I'm pretty sure you'll be able to do that. It's easy. Then, as I said, we'll be holding programmers freshers programming contest. It will basically involve solving problems using algorithms. You'll have to write code, but the problems will be algorithmic in nature. And you can use any language to write code, like any language at all. And if you win, you'll get prizes. Okay, I won this challenge and I got a keyboard as a prize. We have not yet decided the prizes for you, but they'll be really cool. Okay, then there is something called ICPC. It is a programming contest for college students, and it is the most popular programming contest in the world. So, not many people from the first year participate in this challenge because they think it is too tough for them. But I recommend you to form teams of three, and participate in this challenge. It'll be really helpful for you. Like, you'll at least gain some experience on how to participate in these contests. Then there is something called Google Summer of Code. We'll have a lecture on Google Summer of Code sometime later. But the challenge for you is that you have to submit a proposal for Google Summer of Code. We'll tell you more about Google Summer of Code proposals later. But all you need to know is that if you crack Google Summer of Code, you get lots of money. Okay. And you can write this on your resume, which is a very valid plus point. So I hope that you'll try to solve these challenges. And if you ever need any sort of help, you can contact us. So that was all from our side. I mean, now now Dipankar will tell you more.
Hello guys, so I'm the Pankur, and as Priyadarshi mentioned, we have a lot of activities planned for you, and there is like a lot of exploring that you can do in programming club. But my personal preference, I would tell you a little bit about how I got into programming club and how it started. So I had a pretty, like you can say, simple experience with computer science. I did till 10th, and I knew a little bit about Java, nothing much fancy. And then my first semester, I did ESC, C, you can say C language learning, and I also learned about Python simultaneously. And as you can see on your screen, I also did some challenges, like you can say participated in black box, uh, tried to change my profile picture, also like participated in freshers programming contest. And so I got an idea what I wanted to learn about and how I wanted to improve. Then at that time, programming club used to organize like a winter programming camp, which is not possible right now. But then I came to know about a lot of fields which are present in programming as a whole, and that was the turning point that where I want to learn about more specifically. So I went into machine learning and I learned developed models, coded, and from there I really went into this field. So it's up to you what you want to do specifically, and what you want to do after 1 year or 2 years, and that's fair. But just try to explore right now what you want. You can try with first thing with Python. It has a lot of cool projects, mini projects that are available on internet. We can also share you. We also going to have a blog on that. So just try with it first thing. It would give you good exposure how a lot of things can happen with with a single language, with no need to change about to care about multiple syntaxes and understanding of them. That is really important. And the next thing I would tell you is to just uh, like you can say try on, like don't be like I know this so I'm done, so I know this much about something, let's say development, and so I'm okay with I'll have a good job, and as Pidarshi mentioned, I'll have a good job, so I'll just chill out my like next semesters. That's not how uh, you can say life works. You need to constantly improve yourself, and that's why programming is a art. It's also a part of your lifestyle, and you will realize that it is the most important thing that you will have to do in your engineering degree. So that's it. Now you can post comments if you want. We can answer there. We'll answer some questions that are present.
Hi, there is
Also,
one question.
yeah.
There is one question that student search does not open up for you. So that is because, see, student search is a public website, but we do not want to make the data of ITK students public to the world. So we hide it from the world and we only make it available to students from ITK. Now, to prove that you are from ITK, you have to open this website at least once on the IITK VPN. So you can just Google how to use IITK VPN. There will be a web page of Computer Center IITK, and it will have stepwise explanation on how to connect to IITK VPN. It will require your IITK username and password. And once you connect to that, you can just uh, open up student search and search for a few names. Once that is happening, then you can disconnect VPN, and then whenever you open student search after that, it will not require VPN. And so, any other questions?
Like specific, like I would just want to say that I mentioned Python because it is a versatile language. You can do a lot of things with a single language, but it doesn't mean that any language is greater than other language. Like a lot of people are mentioning Python is greater than a lot of language. It's not how it works. We'll come to understand that there are a lot of limitations with Python also, and it's really it's just a good first at a starting level. No, we
So
are like sure.
somebody asked that there any group of P Club on WhatsApp. So that is not there. There is a Slack channel. You can join our Slack workspace, and there is a Y20 channel on that Slack workspace. You can ask any questions or comments on that. And there are lots of people on that group. Like almost the entire college is there on that uh, Slack workspace. So we'll be there to answer your queries.
And like one thing that a lot of people asked is about Linux and Mac, and like how to install it. Like first thing I would want to clear is Mac, Linux, and Windows. They are operating systems. They are very different from each other. And whatever you want to do in programming, it's preferable that you just explore one thing first rather than shifting to. If you have been using Windows, try to shift to Linux. If you have been using Linux, try to shift to another OS that you are capable. Now, why Linux? That's just a very good question. Linux, like first of all, it's free. Second and most important part is it gives you a lot of you can say control over your OS. In Windows, there are a lot of restrictions given to the user that you cannot change a lot of system files. Lot you cannot do a lot of exploration for on the OS side. But Linux give you that. It gives you full control how to optimize your screen, how to optimize your system, how to optimize shortcuts, how to optimize like a lot of things. It gives you a lot of freedom in that. Also, on the other second, that the code, the development or the coding or the programming, any other domain of you can say, it's the editors, you can say the connections available, or you can say the uh, platforms available are much more greater in support than any other OS. Yeah, so that's what I would prefer Linux.
Okay, now a lot of people are asking questions like is C++ good, is Python good, etc. So I'll tell you something honestly, which is what I prefer. So C++ is a very fast language, and people use it mainly for competitive programming. While we do not use C++ for anything other than competitive programming, because there are better languages in which you have much better frameworks and libraries in which you can do tasks very easily. So if you know only C++, then that is, I think that is very conservative, and you should try to learn more languages. Yes, you can start with C language. Like learning, once you know one programming language, learning more from that is very easy. You'll realize that the concepts are similar.
Yeah. So I also want you to take one question, like uh, when you are exploring, like one person said in the group that how to install Linux, right? So I would recommend you to go to a tutorial and try it, but don't just do it in like by taking a backup first rather than just uh, going with the tutorial, because they don't usually tell you to take a backup, and at the first install you are very probable to hit a like a hill that you won't be able to install very properly, or you can say your system will lag in Linux. So just take a backup first if you're exploring that.
So I'll tell you my story. When I was in class 11th, I tried to install Linux on my own. And what happened was that I erased my Windows. So then I had to install a pirated version of Windows 7, and then I had to run a recovery software to recover all my old data from that. So I do not recommend that you try to install Linux on your own, and do it only if you are very good. But you can also use Linux without installing it on your computer. So there is something called a virtual machine. So you can use VirtualBox or VMware softwares like these, and then you can install Linux inside these softwares. So it will basically be like you open up Windows, and then you open up VMware or VirtualBox, and then you can use Linux inside that. And this is recommended for you all, since you do not have uh, a lot of experience in installing operating systems.
Like I totally agree with Priyadarshi that beginners should not try to install Linux. That is one prerequisite. But you can also think of this like we will also be going to organize a Linux install fest. We don't know how it will be going to be running in like online semester, but we are going to be organizing that. So you can just watch that, and we will help you in there. And also one question that I really liked about is what is the sufficient level that you can think of that you learn a language, right? So each language has its own strengths and weakness. When like I mentioned Python, I just talked about like it's a very versatile language. You can do a lot of things in Python. So you can just think of like exploring some 6 to 7 projects or 5 to 6 mini projects in that. We will also be releasing a blog about how to start with it and what mini projects you can try in Python. And once you get the hang of multiple, like you can say uses of the language, then I think you are you pretty much know about the language. So that's a sufficient level that's required.
So someone asked that why should we install Linux in the first place? So I like to answer this question as, if you ever search for code, like you say that I want to do this particular thing, you Google that, okay, you'll find some code on a website called GitHub, okay, but in 90% of the cases, the code that you find on GitHub will be for Linux only, because a lot of open source organizations only support Linux. A lot of developers only prefer Linux. Okay, so to be a part of this culture, it is preferred that you use Linux, but that is not necessary. Like a lot of people use Windows also, and they're very good programmers. Like, of course, the people who work in Microsoft use Windows, and they're very good programmers. So it's not like Linux is absolutely necessary, but it is very helpful.
Okay, so somebody asked like, will you be conducting lectures on languages? So like, learning a language is an intensive task, and we cannot do this on a lecture or on a simple workshop. So it would be on your personal experience. How would you do it? But yes, we will get you started with it. We'll provide you links for resources from where you can do. You can start, but we will not be taking a lecture. And just another question, that shall I do Python or Java or C? Like that is a very generic question, and I should say, like, if you are in first semester, you would be having your C, right? And I would not recommend for beginners doing C along with Python, because it changes a lot of things of syntax and understanding of the language. So don't try it. For experienced people, they can try, of course. There's no limit to trying out. And for the people who are having seat, after you complete the semester, then try Python. That would be great, because whatever things you can do in a language, it changes a lot when you shift to a language and try to learn another language. Though it takes very less time when you have learned another language, but still, I would prefer for beginners, don't try to mess these things up.
So now someone asked, is there any advice from where to start learning from scratch? So I'd like to tell you that we'll be releasing a blog very soon, uh, in 1 or 2 days. And this blog will have a complete, like, it will be a very comprehensive guide for people who have not done programming ever. There is also another question, that can you be a part of programming club if you have never done programming before? Then the answer is absolutely yes. A lot of our secretaries did not do programming before coming to college. They started programming after coming to the college, and they are now secretaries of the programming club. So yes, you can join the club.
Like, also on the point that whether you can join if you have not done any coding experience or not. The point is, it does not require like Java or HTML that we learn usually in our schools in 11th, 12th, or any other board. It's basically they're telling you a specific language, and they're trying to set a mindset for you to how to develop programs. But programming is just not limited to that. It's a very broad field, and it has a lot of domains. So when people come here, they have a lot of opportunities to explore and to understand what are different domains present, rather than just going ahead with the predefined mindset that we have in our schools, that developing a program is just, this is programming. This is not how programming works.
Okay, so someone asked, does branch matters or not? So I'd like to tell you that I myself am in aerospace engineering, and I am a coordinator of the programming club. So clearly, branch does not matter. And I'd also like to tell you that programming is present in every branch. I have done around 5 or 6 courses of aerospace engineering so far, and programming was required in every single course. Okay, so other departments other than computer science also require coding, and you'll realize this when you go into your second year or third year. But the point is that branch does not matter at all. A lot of good programmers are from non CSE departments only.
So, hi everyone. So, just to add on what language you want to learn first on. So, your first step would be to understand the fundamental of language instead of which language to prefer. Learning a language after understanding all the fundamental of programming will be easy. Like you just need to know the syntax. So if you know how to program in C, and if you know the main core fundamentals of programming, it would be really easy for you to just learn the syntax of Python and start with it. So first focus on building up the fundamentals, which will be covered in your ESC 101 course.
Okay. Like, so, like blogs, the point on blogs is like we have written them and we will be going to release them in a sequential order. So, I think starting from today or tomorrow, most probably, We will release the blogs, and you will be most probably seeing on our group and stories of our seckies and ourselves. So you can just join our group, Facebook group, which is present, and you will be able to get you can say updates about it. So am I
Huh.
audible?
So the blogs will be published either on Medium or on a website or from on both places. You can just visit pclub.in to find out previous blogs published on our website. Uh,
Like,
you can install dual OS in laptop. I'd like to tell you that in my laptop I have four operating systems installed. Okay, so it's not that it's very tough, but you need to just have some knowledge of what you are doing. So it's easy, but it's very easy to mess up also. So I'd recommend you not to try to do that on your own unless you are very sure what you're doing.
okay, so
Some
any other?
websites that we can practice questions from. So we'll be releasing a blog soon, and in that blog you'll have the list of all the websites that we recommend. So if you have any other questions, please put them down in the comments. So all these
Yes.
courses that CS50 or MIT OCW, these are basically introduction to programming courses that may be helpful. Wait, is my mic off?
No, Pridashi, you're audible.
Okay. Okay. So that's the only thing I want to tell. Like these are courses, and I personally do not prefer using courses. What my preferred way of learning languages is to try to build small things in them, like a simple game or a simple program, solve things that you have already done in your mind, like that way. A course is not a very preferable way of learning a language, but if you are used to learning things from courses, then you can try that too.
Like, also on the point of CS50, I did that course, but I stopped in mids because first thing, that course basically hinges on the fact that you are beginners in it, and you are trying to learn about the how if else work, how even a function works and these things. If you want to learn about that, it would be much better through practical examples rather than just learning about the theory behind it. And I would prefer, it would save you much time and effort if you go through that. So I would say yes, ESC 101 is as equivalent as CS50 if you're going through that. Okay, how to install.
A Beyblader 261 is asking where can we find the blog. We'll we'll let you know how to find the blog. We'll either send you a mail or we'll inform it on Facebook groups or somewhere. But you'll just find out in 1 or 2 days. Just be patient. And no, there is no registration process to join this group. You can just request to be a member of the programming club ITK group, and will like accept your invitation, like whatever that is.
So one thing also, a lot of people ask is what is open source and what is competitive programming. So Darshi would be able to explain it much better than me. Competitive programming and open source. What is open source? You can understand in this way that a lot of codes are present on online. People have written their code and they made it public. You can say GitHub is one of the first one of the most important, you can say, collaboration of people coming together and writing code. So open source is where you have code which is open, which is available for everyone, and they can see and they can utilize it for their own, you can say, programs and any other stuff. And they can also update it, they can also improve the code simultaneously. And whatever, it doesn't matter who the person wrote it, and whatever the current stated, you can also give your own inputs to the code. So that is open source, a lot where people of community of programmers and developers come together and write codes and freely, which is open to all, and anyone can utilize it. That is open source.
So just to add on what the Pankur said about the open source, so you can try search the free software campaign on Google. So that's where the open source comes, and to give you a feel about how exciting and how enormous the open source community is. Linux is one of the operating system which is actually based upon the open source community, and it is one of the largest, we can say, the operating system. So open source is really exciting, and you can join github, you can create your id on github, and you will find lots of open source exciting projects which are open source, and you can communicate with the community and find about the issues or any features there.
And yes, Sahil asked can I get a recording of this session? So yes, the video, like we are recording this session, we will upload it, and there's not a big point in that, so it's okay. This session timings.
Okay, someone asked that your ESC 101 is in the second sem, so how should I start? So uh, there is no reason that you cannot do programming if your ESC 101 is in the second sem. See, the lecture slides are available for everyone. Like, we'll write a blog, we'll publish a blog tomorrow. In that blog, you'll have lecture slides of previous offerings of that course, so you can learn from that.
Also, just a personal point on this, having ESC 101 in a second semester, I would say, is, you can say, you can also consider as a boon, because it's actually good that you can explore a language first rather than C, and you can develop your understanding of ESC. And then when you come to ESC 101, there is a project professor under which you'll be doing that course will offer a project, and you can take part in that, and that actually really helps you to explore programming. So I would say, try to do or take up a language in this semester, or if you have got the time, try to explore it. That would be much better than just going into the second semester hoping that ESC 101 will help us to understand programming.
So there is a question, a repeated question, that how do I join the Slack group? So the link is pclubIITK.slack.com. You can sign up to this workspace pclub IITK using your IITK email ID. And once you have signed up, so you will have access to that workspace. And under that workspace, there are many channels. Like one of being the Y20, where you can communicate and chat.
So someone asked about, you can say, workshop dates. So first thing I want to make clear, we are having all the second yearites and above, they're having their exams as a semester. So they'll be having the exams in the second week of December, and from the next week it's going to be hectic for us. So we organize this introductory lectures and the blogs, so that you can start yourself and you can get acquainted with the basic, and you can just start with it. From the introductory lecture, we are planning to hold it approximately after, you can say, third week, or in the third week or in the fourth week from there on, because that will point it will be free approx. Okay, so just chill then, and try to explore, like you can say, learn, like get the resources which we'll be posting on blogs, and learn about them.
Ronit Agarwal will look at the timings, and will, since we are organizing it for you, will obviously not organize it at a time when you have your midterm exams. We'll choose a proper time such that both of us are free.
Like Vivek, this video will be available forever. Like this is a YouTube live, and we're going to post it on YouTube, so it would be available forever. So just chill.
So if you do not have any other questions, we can end this session.
And also, you can contact any of the secretaries or coordinators about if anything you wanted to know about. And that's, I think, we gave you an introduction about how to start with the programming, and you can just chill and just don't take tension about where are blogs and how to get started early, and getting me started early will help me. It's not how it works. Just take it slow and take it right. It is very important.
Hi, so you can check out our contact details on our website pclub.in. Like, it's very, say, short name, pclub.in. Like, just go to that website, you'll find all our phone numbers and Facebook URLs and everything.
Um, like a good question asked, like, would joining P Club and other clubs would be too much of a burden, since probably this club might require a lot of dedication. We need to put in a lot of time in it. So, like, I can probably say that most of us, the four of us present here, are present in at least two clubs right now. That I am a part of programming club, and also I'm also a part of speed cubing club. So you can be part of other clubs also. And actually, I would recommend that because you need to get to explore more things. It's just not about programming; it's also about your about how you develop your personality. You're present in a college, right? The main motive of getting you into a college is to get you education, develop your personality, so that you can face ahead what is after college. So just doing programming or being a part of club does not prevent you to joining or exploring other stuff. And
So ICPC will be conducted around the last week of December. That is the news we are getting from the inside sources at Code Chef. That's not official, but that is what we are expecting.
So all the relevant links are posted in the description area of this video, so you can find them.
uh, so I think we should end it right. Like like Dashi and like let's end this. I think we
Shivam
have
Mishra,
like
there will be an introductory session about GSOC where we'll explain everything about Google Summer of Code. And about competitive programming, we'll also have a lecture. So you'll get to know more about competitive programming and GSOC in upcoming lectures of Programming Club. Please attend those lectures. So yes, the session is done now. We'll we'll just end it now. Thanks for coming.